النصير ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين والصلاة والسلام وتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأرضين بأبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأطهرين سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم ملعونين. أما بعد، قال المعصوم عليه السلام: على وإن السنة قد أميتت وإن البدعة قد أحييت إن تطيعوا أمري وتسمعوا قولي أهدكم سبيل الرشاد. For the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziya, for the enlightenment of the graves of your marhumin, of the graves of the Shuhada, Ulama and Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'adham Arwahun al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman and the one who is Rahim. The one that has allowed us life once again to sit in the remembrance of the son of Sayyidah, to sit in the remembrance of that event that has been spoken about for millennia. And the position of Abu Abdullah is unique, as we've said previously. Aside from all the other Imams, Abu Abdullah holds a special station. Not least that the Holy Prophet said that I saw inscribed upon the Arsh, written by a pen of Noor, that said, inscribed upon the Arsh, in al-Hussein misba'ul huda wa safinatun najah, that Hussein is the ark of salvation and the lantern of guidance. The ark of Abu Abdullah is far vaster, far faster, can help an individual reach that perfection a lot quicker. In addition to that, all the other Imams, with all their kamal, with all their greatness, you find that all of them are pointing back to Abu Abdullah. Imam al-Hadi is ill, he sends someone to Karbala, you pray for me under the dome of Abu Abdullah. When you go to Mashhad, there they say the first time you see the dome of Imam al-Radha, you get 3 hajat. Ask any three hajat and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it. When you enter into the haram of Imam al-Radha, you look towards the dharih, and the narration says again, you get 3 more hajat. Ask whatever you will. The same applies to many of the other Imams, that there are certain numbers of hajat that are guaranteed to be accepted, but yet Abu Abdullah is that individual that when you go to Karbala, the narration says you stand under the dome of Abu Abdullah, next to the zarih of Abu Abdullah. No matter how many du'as you have, no matter how many times you want to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the position of Abu Abdullah is such that whatever you ask for, you continue to ask, Allah continues to bestow upon you. Abu Abdullah holds a unique position within the history of Islam, within all of the A'imma, that every Imam at the time of his death, you look at the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the poison coursing through his body, Imam al-Hasan comes and he cries on Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen consoles him. Sayyidah Zainab comes and cries. Amir al-Mu'mineen cries with her but consoles her. When Abu Abdullah begins to cry, Amir al-Mu'mineen looks towards him, says, Ya Hussein, you let that all others cry, but Hussein, you don't cry, because your day is, there is no day like your day, Aba Abdullah. Imam al-Hassan, the same thing. The children of Imam al-Hassan surround him. The wives of Imam al-Hassan crying. The family members of Imam al-Hassan crying. When Aba Abdullah looks towards his brother and Aba Abdullah begins to cry, Imam al-Hassan looks towards him. He says, you, Aba Abdullah, let everyone else cry, but you don't cry, because there is no day like your day, O Aba Abdullah. He holds a special position, such that the narration says that there are 7 doors to hell and 8 doors to heaven. The name of the 8th door is Bab al-Hussein. The narration of the Holy Prophet is that Inna al-Hussein babun min abwab al-Jannah, that Hussein is a door from amongst the doors of Jannah. That 8th door of Jannah, that is reserved solely for those individuals that were the lovers of Aba Abdullah. There are those individuals that came and forwarded the cause of Aba Abdullah. Those individuals that paid money into the way of Aba Abdullah. Those individuals that came and sat upon the Farsh Azar of Sayyid al-Shuhada. It is reserved for those individuals, those that gave niyaz for Aba Abdullah. That door is reserved for those individuals that came and vacuumed the Husayniyah for the Azadar of Sayyid al-Shuhada. That door is reserved for those individuals that came and straightened the shoes of the Azadar of Sayyid al-Shuhada. It is reserved for those individuals that volunteered in any way, shape or form in order that the Azadari of Sayyid al-Shuhada may be established and the message of Aba Abdullah continue. That door in Jannah, brothers and sisters, is reserved for each and every one of you. Such is the position of Aba Abdullah, that we have such an opportunity to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these 10 nights. Such an opportunity to seek that proximity to Allah in the fastest way possible, through the door of Imam al-Hussein. And over the last 6 nights, we have discussed the letters and the sermons of Aba Abdullah. For the last 2 nights, we have been speaking about that letter that he gave to the people of Basra. And today, I want to end that letter. And from tomorrow, we will look at the letter of Muslim ibn Aqil. That's a letter that Aba Abdullah gave to Muslim ibn Aqil. Yesterday, when we looked at this letter, on the day before, we highlighted 3 main points from it. The Imam says, the sunnah of the Prophet is dead, and innovation is rife within society. He's explaining why it is that Karbala needs to happen, why it is that this stance has been taken by Aba Abdullah. He says the sunnah of the Prophet has been killed, bid'ah, innovation is rife within society. Then he says, in tuti'u amri wa tasma'u qawli ahdikum sabila ar-rashad, that if you listen to my commands, if you obey my commands, you listen to my words, I will take you towards total success. Yesterday we spoke about the idea of rushd, the idea of being Rashid, an individual that achieves total success, total maturity in every aspect of their spiritual life. And Aba Abdullah is saying, you follow my path, you listen to my words, you obey my commands, I will take you to absolute perfection. And we said that there are 3 main ways in order to achieve that proximity, achieve that rushd. We said the first was that an individual loves Iman and he hates sin. The second of those was that he loves Ahlul Bayt, and the third way towards that absolute total success is through dua. Today I want to look at the opposite of rushd, and that is dalal, misguidance, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to constantly dalalun mubin, clear misguidance within the Holy Quran. Or then he's saying in Surah Al-Fatiha, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ, and those individuals that are misguided. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. Those مَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ are different. The وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ, they're different. See, The waladhaleen, it refers to those that are misguided. And the Mufassirin have come out in the tafasir of the Holy Quran, and they've identified the difference between these two groups. They say those that are the dhaleen are the misguided, those that are walking the path. The maghdub alayhim are misguided as well, but some tafasir say they have one extra thing. The one where the ghadab of Allah is upon them, those individuals, they have one additional characteristic where not only are they misguided, but they misguide others. They're individuals that drag other people towards dhalal. They are those people that drive others towards misguidance. They misguided themselves, but they preach certain things, or they say certain things, or they act in a certain way that drives other people towards that path of misguidance upon which they walk themselves. And there are many other examples, but my time today, I want to keep it short because I have to recite a longer masa'ib. And so this idea of dalal, so how is it that we can stay away from this? You know, we need to identify what are the causes of misguidance. And again, I'm going to give you 3 points. 3 causes of misguidance that the Holy Quran brings forward. The first of those is ya'as, despair. So the first cause of misguidance is when an individual despairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Hijr, He says, وَمَنْ يَقْنَتُ مِنْ رَحْمَةِ رَبِّهِ إِلَّا الضَّالُّونَ. He says that, and who despairs of the mercy of his Lord, but those that are the misguided ones. Only those that are misguided are the ones that despair of the mercy of Allah. And there's a story behind this ayah. This story begins in the time of Nabi Ibrahim. Nabi Ibrahim is sitting inside the house with his wife Sarah. Old Ibrahim, aged Ibrahim, years have passed. He's sitting inside his home with his wife, and the Surah 51, the ayah, the story begins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and inform them of the guests of Ibrahim, of those guests that came to Nabi Ibrahim. Nabi Ibrahim was that individual that loved guests. He loved having people come over to the house, be able to serve. And this itself, is a thing that we're losing within Western society. This idea of loving guests. Now, when we have guests, it's like heart palpitations. Oh my God, where they come from? What am I going to give them? And then we have to sort of like prepare all of this stuff beforehand. Guests are coming. Oh my God, did you hear? Or then, if the husband, the poor soul, if he brings someone home unannounced, then it's a lot of trouble for him. Then why did you bring someone? You didn't tell us that you were going to bring anyone in the house. Anyhow, Nabi Ibrahim was used to this. Actually, and one of the wives of the Prophet, ironically, was quite like this, that the Holy Prophet would always bring companions. And she would say to the Holy Prophet, why do you always bring people to the home? You always bring guests. We never get a chance, just the house is never empty. You're always bringing someone over to the house. So the Holy Prophet says, you don't see what I see. So he says, let me show you. He places his hands over her eyes and he says that now when you see the guests come in, tell me what you see. So she says the next day the Holy Prophet brought guests inside the home and he saw that they were bringing on their backs sacks and sacks of the rahmah of Allah, and they were bringing it inside the house. Now when they had finished eating and had dinner and they were leaving, she says, I saw attached to their backs all the bala, all the difficulties, all the sorrows that were in our house. They came with the blessings, they took with them our sorrows and our bala and our difficulties from the house. The Holy Prophet says, now do you know why I love guests so much? When guests come, they bring barakah. When they leave, they take all the bala, all the difficulty from our homes. So Nabi Ibrahim is an individual that loved having guests. So now these guests come inside the home. In Surah Al-Hijr, ayah 52, Allah continues, وَإِذْ دَخَلَ عَلَيْهِ. And when they entered upon him, فَقَالُوا سَلَامًا. The first thing they said to him was salam. Now, we have narrations in regards to salam that say salam Even if you do not know the person, or if you know the person or do not know the person, say salam. Because there is more barakah in it. And constantly there is this, within narrations, this insistence that people say salam. Not hi, hello, how are you? Now it's just like, hey, yeah, all right. Yeah. There's no salam. Or then when we leave, fi amanillah, I'm doing a dua for that person, that I leave you in the trust of Allah. Not bye. Yeah? We have it now. Hi. Are you talking to a Muslim or non-Muslim? No, Muslim, mu'min. So then why the hi? Salamun alaykum. Or assalamu alaykum. You get rid of the noon. If you're saying salamun alaykum, assalamu alaykum. And the akhlaq of the salam is that if someone says something to you, you always reply with something better. If they say salamun alaykum, you say wa alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullah. If they say salamun alaykum wa rahmatullah, you say wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And if they say assalamun alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, then you try and better it in some way and say, how are you? Something nice. In some way, shape or form. But those of us that initiate assalamu alaikum, salamun alaikum, let's leave a bit of room for the person that replies to have a bit, to gain a bit of thawab as well. The constant insistence towards salam. Be the first person to say salam. Don't expect others to say salam to you. Go and say salam to others first. But there are certain individuals that in narrations it says, do not do salam to them. Two groups of them, one of those is the one that consumes interest. The Holy Prophet says, do not say salam to him. And the second is the drunkard. The person that consumes alcohol, consumes drugs of any sort, that intoxicates himself. Do not say salam to that individual. Anyhow, these individuals, they come into the house of Nabi Ibrahim, they do salam. They sit down, Nabi Ibrahim offers them food, they don't eat. Nabi Ibrahim becomes worried. They turn towards him, they say, Ibrahim, do not be afraid. He says, why do you not eat? They say, we are angels of God. We have brought for you good tidings, بِغُلَامٍ alim, of a son, of a knowledgeable son. Ibrahim says, me, old Ibrahim? My wife, old? How is this possible? 10 years have passed since old Ibrahim was given Ismail through Nabi Hazrat Hajar. And he's given Nabi Ismail. Comes and then the whole situation, Hazrat Sarah, Hazrat Hajar, same house, problems. So he takes Hazrat Hajar to Mecca. Leaves her there. Now he's back with Hazrat Sarah for this moment, and these angels come down. They say, Ibrahim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with another son, or is to bless you with another son. And then Hazrat Ibrahim, shocked, he says, almost despairing that how is it possible? Why is this happening? And the ayah continues, فَلَا تَكُنْ مِنَ الْقَانِتِينَ. Says, so therefore do not be of those that are becoming despairing, those that despair. وَمَنْ يَقْنَطُ مِنْ رَحْمَةِ رَبِّهِ إِلَّا الضَّالُونَ. And this is the ayah that we started from. And the one who despairs of the mercy of his Lord is from amongst the misguided ones. Never despair of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter how difficult things become, no matter how bad a situation has arisen in your life, never despair of the mercy of Allah. Zuhri is an alim at the time of Imam as-Sajjad salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh. He gave a ruling about an individual in regards to a crime, and that individual was put to death. Later, the evidence came out that that individual was actually innocent. Now Zuhri is seen going to the Kaaba, wailing, crying, despairing, and absolutely beside himself about what has happened, and in a way crying and wailing in such a way, saying words of despair. The Imam al-Sajjad looks towards him. He says, Zuhri, I do not fear for you because of the killing of an innocent man, but what I fear for you is of your despair in front of Allah. From amongst the gunahane kabira, one of them is despair. The person that despairs of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A story that I have already narrated here before, but I'll go over it briefly. A lady during the time of the Holy Prophet commits adultery with a man. She becomes with child. During this period where they find out that she has a child, her and the other individual, they make a plot to kill the child. They abort the child, they take the child, and she says to the Holy Prophet that, Ya Rasulullah, I committed such a crime. The Holy Prophet says, what is it? She says, Allah will never forgive it. Says, what happened? She says, I committed adultery. I fell pregnant. We aborted the child. We took the child and we placed it within a vat of vinegar because my husband was a vinegar seller. So I placed that fetus within that vinegar. It dissipated within the vinegar. My husband continued to sell that najis vinegar to all of the people of Medina. People consumed it. Ya Rasulullah, he sold so much of it. Imagine now what a huge sin. That's not only the one of zina, but then the one of the murdering, then the one of placing that child and making that vinegar najis, and then every single person that's taken it, all those du'as that are not being accepted, all those salah that are not reaching the heavens because of the consumption of haram, all of this is on her shoulders. Says, Ya Rasulullah, and then they all consumed it. Allah will never forgive me. The Holy Prophet says to her that yes, you are right. Allah will never forgive you. But not because of the haram that you committed. Not because of the child, or not because of the vinegar, not because of the adultery. Why Allah will not forgive you is because you despair of the mercy of God. Because you say He won't. How can He? Allah is merciful. Despair is one of the gunahane kabira. Never despair of the mercy of Allah. Never enter into a state of despair. Oh, I'm too old to do this now. Oh, I can't learn this now. Or I can't change my habits now. Or I wish I did this earlier. Or I can't do this anymore. I'm too stuck in my ways. I can't control my anger. I was born with it. It's in my family. I inherited my anger from my father. There's despair. This is despair. It's one of the gunahane kabira. It's one of those things that Allah says that He will not forgive. Says forgives all sin. Except the one of despair. Because you thought that Allah would not or could not forgive that sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says that I will forgive everything. All sins. Hazrat Yunus, the story of Hazrat Yunus is within the Holy Quran. Yunus does tabligh for years and years amongst his people. 100,000, the Quran says. 100,000 plus a few. Says that he tried. Eventually Yunus gave up. They're not changing. Turned around, he cursed them. He said, the adhab of Allah is coming upon you. Pray to Allah, Allah destroy them. And Hazrat Yunus walked away from them. Then the story of the whale, he committed what is known as the lesser of the desired actions. It wasn't a sin, but it wasn't befitting of the status of a prophet to do such a thing. Tarke awla. So now he walks away. As a result of the Tarke awla, Hazrat Yunus ends up in the belly of the whale. He spends some days within the belly of the whale, darkness, no food, nothing. And then from inside there, the ayah of Surah Anbiya, ayah 87, what we recite in Namaz al-Ghufayla, that is recommended to be recited after Salat al-Maghrib. Any hajat, any difficulties you have, recite Namaz al-Ghufayla. You'll see that there's ease within it. So after reciting Surah Al-Hamd, it's only 2 rakat. After reciting Surah Al-Hamd, you recite this ayah. وَذَنُّونَ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَنْ لَنْ نَقْدَرَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. That from inside the belly of the whale, Yunus cried out. In that darkness, he cried out, there is no God but Allah. Glory be to Him. Surely I am from amongst those who make themselves suffer loss. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, liking the munajat of Hazrat Yunus, expels him upon the earth. He ends up in an arid area, nothing to eat, nothing to drink. He's ill. The Quran says that he was ill. He stumbles through the desert, prays to Allah, Ya Allah, something to eat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala manifests for him the gourd plant, like a squash of some sort. I don't know what you guys call it in American, but a squash of some sort of that family. So Hazrat Yunus begins to eat that, gains his strength, slowly starts eating it. One day he falls asleep. He wakes up and finds that worms have gone inside it and have ruined it, unable to eat. Hazrat Yunus again, he raises his hands, Ya Allah, I ended up in the whale. I asked you, you gave me najat, you gave me safety from there. I came out onto the earth, hungry, thirsty, ill, and then you bestowed one mercy upon me, and now even that has been taken away from me. Ya Allah, what am I to do? The reply comes, Yunus, you're so worried about one individual. What about those 100,000 that you cursed? Says, what about those 100,000 that you cursed? Now go back to your people and look, they've all become Muslim. And each and every one of them was saved from the punishment of Allah. Hazrat Yunus goes back, finds the whole town. No Nabi in the history of all the Anbiya managed to convert his whole nation except Nabi Yunus. 100,000 plus some, the Quran says. All of them converted. The point of the story is this. Why is it that they all converted? Why is it that Allah halted the punishment towards them and did not destroy them? The narrations tell us because when Hazrat Yunus left and said, you're going to be cursed, the people all of a sudden began to do istighfar. They did not despair. They did not despair of the mercy of God. A scholar came from amongst them and said, let us do istighfar and ask Allah, let us not despair of the mercy of God. So they did not despair. They prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed from them the adhab. Saved them from that punishment, that divine wrath. The first reason for misguidance is that an individual despairs. A person should never despair. In Surah Al-Zumar, ayah number 53, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِي أَصْرِفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَصْرِفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا. That, oh my servants, note the love in the line. It says, oh my servants, Ya ibadi, who have done what? They've committed sins. But he doesn't say sin. Ya ibadi alladhina asrifu ala anfusihim. Oh my servants that have been extravagant with yourselves. You've been extravagant with yourselves. La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Do not despair of the mercy of God. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive every single one of your sins. No matter how big they are, how large they are, whether you've forgotten that you even committed them. Says, I, your Lord, will forgive everything. Do not despair of my mercy. I am oft forgiving, oft merciful. I will forgive all your sins. The requirement is that we take the step towards Him. We're trying to understand the concept of dalal, the concept of misguidance. What are the causes of misguidance? The first cause of misguidance is that an individual despairs of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second cause of misguidance is when an individual gives into his hawa in nafs, gives into the lowly desires of his soul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Jathiyah, ayah 23 says, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهُهُ هَوَاءَ وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ. That do you not see, have you not then considered that individual that takes his lowly desires for his God, and Allah has made him misguided? That individual that gives into his base animal desires, he takes his desires to be his God. Sometimes we don't worship idols. The greatest idol that a man needs to break is the idol of the self. That pride that overcomes me, that jealousy, that anger. These are all idols that exist within my soul. And it is easier to taste death than to fight the soul. I said maybe 3 lectures ago that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks about the people of the akhirah, He says, يَمُوتُ النَّاسِ مَرَّةً وَيُمُوتُ أَحَدُهُمْ فِي كُلِّ يَوْمٍ 70 مَرَّةً. He says that the people of He says all of mankind, they die only once in their life. But the people of the akhirah, they die every day, 70 times a day, fighting the lowly desires of their soul. My soul says, sleep, don't wake up for salah. I obey. It's the time for me to pray to Allah. But instead I worship the idol of my soul and I continue to sleep. I know it is the time for salah now, but I delay it. I said, no, not now, I'm a bit tired, I'll pray in 10 minutes. 10 minutes turns to 20, 30, 40, and then right at the last minute I think, oh my God, 5 minutes before qadha, and then I pray. It's giving in to the idols of my soul. Allah says the second reason for misguidance is when those individuals take their souls themselves to be their idols, to be their gods. I begin to worship myself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a command. This is haram. I go contrary to that command. I have made myself, my soul, my animal side, my God. It's time for salah. I'm watching something on TV. I say that I will pray after this program has finished. Or I have finished playing this particular game. At that moment, who have I made my Lord? The TV and the game. It says, have you not seen those individuals that take their lowly desires as their gods? They're surely misguided. I know that I should be teaching my children about something. I know that I should be teaching my children to pray. I know that my child is baligh. He is at the age of taklif. He has reached that age upon which now for him or her, salah is wajib, hijab is wajib, your fasting is wajib. But I say, no, look, it's so small. He needs to sleep. If I wake him up, look. What am I teaching? No, it's too hot, don't fast. It's 14 years old. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has infinite wisdom. To say that Allah did not know that people would come and live in this hemisphere, in this particular state, with this heat, is to say that God did not possess knowledge of something. And if you say that God did not possess knowledge, or I know better about my environment, you've committed kufr. A shirk. That I know better than God. So I place myself above Allah. And don't instill that within my children, that the command of Allah is above everything. This is what Karbala teaches us. How else is Qasim ibn al-Hasan coming to the Imam, Ahla min al-asal. Death to me is sweeter than honey, uncle. Tomorrow when we recite the Messiah of Qasim, you'll hear, Lam yadal yuqabbil ar-rajlayhi wa yaday. He was constantly coming, kissing the hands and the feet of his uncle, asking for permission to go out and fight. This is what it means to raise a child in the love of Allah. To instill within them that passion for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the second reason for misguidance of an individual is that they give in to their lowly desires. The third reason for the misguidance of an individual, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, is because of the hardness of the heart. When the heart of an individual becomes hardened. It says in the Holy Quran, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْغَاصِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ مَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. It says, woe to those hearts that are hard against the remembrance of Allah. Those are in clear error. Those hearts that become hardened. Now they can no longer shed tears when they think about their sins. Those hearts that have become hardened, that they can no longer shed tears for Abu Abdullah. Those hearts that have become hardened, now they don't like to pray. Those hearts that have become hardened, that they're not inclined towards the worship of Allah. And the heart of a mu'min has such a status. Hazrat Dawood asks Allah, he says, Allah, all kings upon this earth that have ever lived, all of them had a treasury. Allah, where is your treasury? You are the King of kings. Where is your treasury? Where is it that you keep your most precious jewels? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to him, Dawood, my treasury is that place that is greater than the arsh. It is greater than the throne of God. It is higher than the skies. It is wider than the earth. Dawood, my treasury, has 4 doors. The first door is the one of knowledge. The second door is the one of forbearance, of hilm. The third door is the one of rida, of happiness, of satisfaction. And the fourth door of my treasury, Dawood, is the one of sabr, of patience. Hazrat Dawood says, Ya Allah, where is this treasury? This place where all your treasures and your jewels are hidden. Ya Allah, where is this place that is greater than your arsh? Where is this place that is higher than the skies? Where is this place that is vaster than the earth itself? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Dawood, my treasury is the heart of the believer. It is the qalb of the mu'min. Understand your status. Understand how dear you are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that I, Allah, store all my treasures in the heart of the mu'min. When I go on ziyarah, and people go, they go out and they buy tasbih, they buy rings, they buy pieces of cloth, and they rub it against the dharih. You see how people do that? They rub their tasbih, they rub their cloth, they rub their clothing against the dharih. And then they come back. And they take that and they begin to show people, this I must against the zari of Abu Abdullah. This I must against the dhari of Imam al-Rada. I have must this against the dhari of all the A'imma. This I even must against the dhari of Rasulullah. And you see how much respect they give it. They hold it, they show people, other people come and they kiss it. Other people ask for a bit of that cloth. Other people say, well, if you've got some of the earth of Karbala, can I have a little bit of it? People come and we respect it, we take it, we place it in cupboards, or we hold it dear to ourselves. We only wear it when we're in the state of wudu. We've all seen that. We've all done that. Yes? Okay, alhamdulillah. We've all done that. We've seen that. We've seen how people do that. They have special places in their homes, which is their azakhana, where the alam of al-Abbas is. They have a place where they keep all the shabih of the dharih of the imams. And all of us go there and we pay respect. Even if it's in Houston, who cares? It's connected to them. That's what we say. We bring out the shabih. We bring out the cradle of Hazrat Ali Asghar. We know it's not the cradle of Hazrat Ali Asghar, but we say no, it's associated to Ali Asghar. So that's why we go there. That's why we kiss it. That's why we hold it, because it's connected to them. And it's been must against the zari. That's why I wear it, because it's dear to me, because I must it against the zari. Brothers and sisters, then what about me? What about you that have been on ziyarah and you've must yourself against the zari of Abu Abdullah? Those rings that you hold so dear and that you only wear through because you've got wudu, only when you have wudu, or those pieces of cloth that you kiss with so much love. What about this body that has gone against the grave of Hussein ibn Ali? Will you disrespect it? Will you bring it down? Will you allow it to commit sin? If a piece of cloth can have so much importance because it's associated to Abu Abdullah, then what about me? Why do I sell myself so short? This body has must itself against the haram of Abu Abdullah. It's gone to Iraq, it's gone to Iran. It's even been to Bakir. So why do I sell myself short? The third sign, third cause of misguidance is that the heart of an individual is hardened. When the heart becomes hard, that leads to their misguidance. And there are 3 reasons or 4 reasons that the Holy Prophet gives that cause the heart to become hard. The first is that too much talking without the remembrance of Allah. Too much idle talk. And nowhere in there am I mentioning Allah or doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not learning about the religion. I'm just talking and talking and talking about all rubbish and anything that I can think of. And nowhere in it is it mildly connected to the religion, connected to my relationship with Allah. The second reason that the heart becomes hard is when a person accustoms themselves to listening to haram words. They accustom themselves to listening to ghibah, to listening to lying, to listening to haram music. Says that will make the heart hard. The third cause of hardness of the heart is sitting and being in the company of misers. People that don't like spending money. People who don't like giving time. People who are miserly in themselves and they stop others as well from giving. Says sit with them, your heart will become hard. The fourth reason is that sitting with the dead. The Holy Prophet says those that sit and interact with the dead, their heart will become hard. The companion says, Ya Rasulullah, what do you mean that people will start to speak, interact with the dead? The Holy Prophet says, the dead, I mean, are those individuals that are rich, but they are inattentive to their responsibilities to Allah. They're rich, but they don't pay their khums, they don't pay their zakat if they're eligible for it. They don't give sadaqah. They have the money. The Holy Prophet says those individuals are dead. These 4 individuals, being amongst them will harden your heart. 3 reasons for misguidance that we spoke of today. 3 reasons for success that we spoke of yesterday. The first way to success is through hating the sin and loving Iman. The second way to success is the love of Ahlul Bayt. The third way to success is through dua. The first cause of misguidance that we spoke of is despair. When one despairs of the mercy of God, God won't forgive me. I'm too much of a sinner. No. It says the fact that you think He won't forgive you, He won't forgive you. But if you know that He will forgive and you go and ask Him, He will forgive you for everything. But you just have to bring it to your tongue and ask Him. Never despair of your own ability. I'm too old. I can't do it now. I can't learn. I can't change my personality. I can't get rid of my anger. No. There is no place for despair. The moment anyone despairs in any aspect of their life, it's a route towards misguidance. The second is following your lowly desires. If you follow the hawa of your nafs, the lowly desires of your nafs, it will take you to misguidance. And the third is when the heart becomes hard. That will create misguidance. And all 3 of these characteristics are found in the army of Yazid in Karbala. All 3 of these aspects, those hearts that have become hard, that desire following one's lowly desires, and that despair of the mercy of God, not having trust in Allah, the result of it is Karbala. The result of it is that man will go to such a low that even a 6-month-old child is not safe. There are many deaths that occurred in Karbala from Ahlul Bayt. There was the death of Al-Abbas, the death of Qasim, the death of Ali Akbar. But nowhere in any of this does Abu Abdullah call out to his Shi'as. Qasim fell from the horse. His body trampled, his bones broken, his body elongated. Abu Abdullah cried at the body of Qasim. He took the body of Qasim and he cried with Ahlul Bayt. Ali Akbar fell from the horse. Abu Abdullah went to his body. وَضَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى خَدِّهِ. He placed his cheek on the cheek of his son Ali Akbar. 3 times, they say. First time, عَلَى الدُّنْيا بَعْدَكَ الْأَفَاء. What pleasure is there left in the dunya? He went to the youth of Bani Hashim. Come, carry the body of Akbar back. Akbar's body is brought back. Abu Abdullah weeps. But he weeps with Ahlul Bayt. Abbas goes. And Imam says, yes, al-an in kathara dhahri. That now my back has been broken. But Abu Abdullah comes back and he mourns with Ahlul Bayt. In our lives, sometimes there are difficulties, there are sorrows that we come and we tell our family members about and we cry with our family members. But sometimes there are such sorrows in our lives that now we know that no one else in the family will be able to bear it. So we have to go outside and talk to other people about that difficulty. Qasim fell, Abu Abdullah came to Ahlul Bayt. Ali Akbar died, Abu Abdullah came to Ahlul Bayt. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas died, Abu Abdullah came to Ahlul Bayt. He did his sorrow and his grief with Ahlul Bayt. But there is one death in Karbala where even Abu Abdullah, in his final words, Shi'ati mahma in sharibtum ma'ad bima'in fadhkuruni. Oh Shi'as, oh my Shi'as, whenever you drink cold water, remember me. أو سمعتم بغريب أو قتيل أو شهيد فاندبوني. And if you hear of a person that was killed while they were alone, while there was no one by their side, then cry over me loudly. فأنا الصبط الذي بغير جرم قتلوني. For I am the son of Rasulullah that was killed for no crime. I had no crime. وَبِجَرْدِ الْخَيْرِ بَعْدَ قَتْلِ عَمْدًا فَصَحِكُونِي. And then I am the one who after my death, my body was trampled by the hooves of the horses. Shi'ati, then Abu Abdullah remembers you again. He says, Shi'ati laytakum fi yawmi ashura jami'an tanzuruni. My Shi'as, how I wish you were there in Karbala so that you could have seen what is it that Abu Abdullah wanted us to see. كيف أستسقي لطفلي فأبواه يرحموني. How I took my 6-month-old child out to ask for water, and how they showed me, Hussein, mercy. They say everyone had died, everyone had gone. Abu Abdullah comes towards the tents. Nawilini waladi as-saghir. Bring for me my youngest son. They brought Aliun Asghar to Abu Abdullah, a child that is thirsty for 3 days. When an adult is thirsty, they can bear it. But a 6-month-old baby, there was no water left. His mother's milk had dried. And this child, Abu Abdullah came. He said, bring me my child so that I may bid farewell to him. He holds the 6-month-old in his hands, and I don't know what it was that changed the mind of Abu Abdullah, that he turned and rode out with the child. Maybe it was that pale skin. The Maqtal say Ali Asghar's skin had become yellow from thirst. They say his lips were dry, his tongue was dry. They say Ali Asghar no longer had any strength. His eyes had rolled inside his head, they were rolling. Ali Asghar's mouth was just opening. The Maqtal says he was like a fish that had been taken out of water. The only strength the child had was that he could open and close his mouth. Abu Abdullah looks towards him. He takes the child out. He stands in front of the army of Yazid. Some say he asked for water. Others say he said to them, Atarawna kayfa yataladda atashin. Do you not see how this child shakes from thirst? Will you not give it a drop of water? Abu Abdullah holding the child in the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad. They began weeping. This is only a child. Umar ibn Sa'ad comes to Harmala. He says, Harmala, cut off the words of Abu Abdullah. He says, Umar ibn Sa'ad, who shall I go for, the father or the son? Umar ibn Sa'ad says, do you see that white spot on the neck of Ali Asghar? Harmala takes a 3-headed arrow. A 3-headed arrow that is used to slaughter camels. That is used to slaughter camels. Where is a 6-month-old child? Where is the camel? He fires the arrow. And what effect has that arrow on the neck of Ali Asghar? That your Imam says in Ziyarat al-Nahiya, As-salamu ala tifl al-radhi madhbuh min al-uzn ila al-uzn. My salams be upon that child that was slaughtered from ear to ear. Abu Abdullah looks down at the child, looks towards the heavens, looks back down towards the earth. When Mukhtar began his revenge upon the killers of Karbala, they say when he got hold of Harmala, he said to Harmala, that Mal'un, tell me, what is it that you did in Karbala? He said, I fired 7 arrows, 3 missed, 4 hit. Says, what were those arrows that you fired? He said, I fired the first arrow into the eye of Al-Abbas that made him fall from the horse. The second arrow I fired into the chest of Abu Abdullah. It was a 3-headed poisoned arrow on Asr Ashur. That arrow that came out the back of Abu Abdullah. They say Imam al-Hussein pulled the arrow from the back. Bismillah wa billah wa ala millati Rasulillah. And a fountain of blood gushed forth from the chest of Abu Abdullah. He said, the third arrow that I fired was when Hussein lay upon the plains of Karbala, and Abdullah ibn Hassan, the younger brother of Al-Qasim, came running out to defend Abu Abdullah. He says, I fired an arrow at the child and killed him as he lay in the lap of Hussein. The fourth arrow that I fired was into the neck of Aliyun Asghar. Mukhtar says to him, Mal'un, did your heart not break at any point for Hussein? Did you not feel any sorrow for Hussein at any point? He says, Mukhtar, if you ask me, there was one part when my heart broke for Hussein. He says that at that point I knew Hussein was Gharib. He says, tell me when. He says, when I fired that 3-headed arrow into the neck of Ali Asghar. Hussein looked down at the child. He looked towards the heavens as if to say, my Lord, Hussein has nothing else to give. Your Imam says, Assalamu ala tifl radhi madbuh min al-uzn ila al-uzn. That child, that was dhibh, that was slaughtered from ear to ear. This word of dhibh is interesting because it's only used twice in Karbala. See, the word dhibh means slaughter, but a specific type of slaughter. It is when the person or the individual that is being slaughtered is still alive. First was used for Ali Asghar, then the second time for Abu Abdullah. The slaughtering of Ali Asghar. Abu Abdullah takes the child, he covers him in his abba, begins walking back. On the Amal of Ashura, you will walk back and forth 7 times. Doing what Abu Abdullah did. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Radhan biqada'ihi wa tasliman li amri. 7 times Hussein walked towards his tents. 7 times he walked back again. I'm not sure why Abu Abdullah did this. Maybe it is because he was thinking, how will I show Zainab? What will I say to Sakina? What will Rabab say? I took the child for water. They have answered the call in this way. Abu Abdullah comes towards the tent. He enters inside the tent. Rabab comes towards Abu Abdullah, waiting for her son. Only a mother can understand this pain. That she comes forward, hoping, I don't know what hopes were in the heart of Rabab. Maybe my son would be given a drop of water. Maybe my Ali Asghar will survive. But when she sees the face of Abu Abdullah, some narrations say that when Ali Asghar was struck by the arrow, Hussein took the blood of the child, he placed it over his face and his beard, and he said, I will meet my grandfather in this state so that he knows what this ummah has done to me. Rabab may be looking at the face of Abu Abdullah. She then asks Abu Abdullah of Ali Asghar, Imam al-Hussein moves back his Abba. Rabab is sabira. Rabab is patient. Rabab is also lost in the love of her Imam. She understands why her Imam is in Karbala. So now she doesn't address Imam. She doesn't call out to Allah. Instead, she turns towards her 6-month-old child. He says, Ya bunay, ayamithluka yunhar. My son, are children like you slaughtered in this way that the camels are slaughtered? Abu Abdullah, he takes his son, he takes him to the back of the tent. He begins to dig the grave of Ali Asghar. They say as Abu Abdullah held on to the body of Ali Asghar before burying carrying him. Hussein cried so loudly, Hussein cried so loudly that for the first time a call was heard from the heavens. Hussein, leave the child, for we have wet nurses waiting for him in heaven. Abu Abdullah, Madhloom Hussein, he lowers his son into that burning earth. They say Hussein began covering from the feet of Ali Asghar. When he reached the face of Ali Asghar, they say Hussein paused for a second. The burning sand, a young child, 6-month-old innocent child, how will he bear the burning sands of Karbala? Hussein buries his son. Now it is customary to pour water over a grave, but Hussein has no water. What will Hussein pour? The Maqtal says Hussein lay down. He placed his cheek on the cheek of Ali, on the earth of the grave of Ali Asghar, and Hussein cried. The tears from the eyes of Abu Abdullah, they began to wet the grave of Ali Asghar. Hussein stands. This is Abu Abdullah. But whenever I recite the Masa'ib of Ali Asghar, there is one part to the Musibah of Ali Asghar that happens on the 11th of Muharram. Rabab is watching. Rabab, she is a mother who has seen her 6-month-old child slaughtered. Abu Abdullah buried the child on the 11th of Muharram. They begin counting the heads of the Shuhada of Bani Hashim. They say one head is missing. Where is the 6-month-old child of Hussein? One Mal'un says, I saw Hussein bury the child where the tents used to be. They say that men mounted upon their horses. Imagine Rabab is watching. She is a mother that is watching. In their hands they hold spears. They begin riding over the plains of Karbala, striking the earth. When Mal'un strikes the earth, he pulls out his spear. At the end, the body of Ali Asghar. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون رضا بقضائه وتسليما لأمره. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive the sins of our parents. Oh Allah, for the sake of that child, that Imam as-Sadiq says that whoever gives the name for the sake of that madhloom, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never rejects his dua. The companion said, Ya Imam, which madhloom? He says, whoever gives the sake of Ali Asghar 3 times, Allah never rejects a dua. Ali Asghar is Babul Hawa'ij. Ali Asghar is that child that was killed with no crime in Karbala. They say that whoever gives the wasata of Ali Asghar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive all their du'as, will fulfill all their hajat, will forgive their sins. Ya Allah, for the sake of the blood of Ali Asghar. Ya Allah, for the sake of the blood of Ali Asghar. Ya Allah, for the sake of the blood of Ali Asghar. Ya Allah, forgive our sins. Ya Allah, forgive the sins of our parents. Oh Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those that have brought hajat, those that have difficulties in their lives, problems in their lives, Ya Allah, for the sake of this 6-month-old innocent child of Abu Abdullah, fulfill their hajat, remove their sorrows, and fulfill all their wishes. Ya Allah, those that are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those that are in debt, clear their debts. Ya Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadreen, his true waiters. At the end, there's a request for dua shifa'ah for two ladies who will undergo surgery tomorrow, Sister Abida Mu'min and Sister Shaheen Ja'fari. Please join me in reciting 3 times Ayammi Yujibu for their shifa'ah, and for all those mu'mineen and mu'minat that have contacted us, one or another that may be ill. Ya Allah, for the sake of this child, for the sake of this ayah karima, give them total shafa'ah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mudtarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. In the end, there's a request for a recitation of Surah Fatiha for the following marhumin: Sabira bint Sultan Ali, Mahbub Habib Moledina, Sultana Asrani, Sher Ali Manji, Ahmed Sultan Khan, Muhammad Reza Shirazi, the marhumin of Adil Raza's family, and Ziba Shirazi, for your marhumin and of the marhumin of the mu'mineen and mu'minat, and those that have no one to recite for them. Please join me in reciting Surah Al-Fatiha, 3 times Surah Tawheed, but before that, the loudest of your salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah.